Okay. I was told to look right into this camera right here, so I'm going to... There we go. I wrote this, and it's about 2 incidents of play that I had with children. One happened very recently, and one happened about 9, 10 years ago. And I call it the power of play. The little girl stood inside the playhouse. She leaned out the window. She looked up at me with a joyful smile. "Would you like to buy an ice cream?" I didn't see any ice cream in her make-believe snack shack, but of course, I would play along. "Sure, I'll buy an ice cream." "What flavor, please?" I'll take vanilla." She turned around very businesslike to the shelf inside the playhouse and plucked an imaginary vanilla ice cream from her imaginary ice cream inventory. She handed it to me. "That will be $1, please." I handed her an imaginary dollar. "No!" She left her snack shop and picked a leaf off the ground. And then she handed it to me and she said, "This is $1." Then she went back to the playhouse and stood at the window. I gave her the leaf dollar. Over the next few minutes, I bought several more imaginary ice creams with the leaves I picked up off the ground. These transactions took place in the courtyard here at UUSM during coffee hour. The service that day was beautiful, but this game with little Tamina was the high point of my day. It doesn't take an expert on early childhood education to see the benefits of a game like this one I described. These benefits include enhancement of creative imagination, learning socialization skills, building confidence. The fun of such play for both child and adult is a mood elevator without the need of a medical prescription. It's also a healthy bonding of child to adult. Teachers, caregivers, parents, grandparents, older siblings, aunts and uncles. Do we have any of those here?
Yeah.
Yeah. They could tell you countless such stories of these play interactions. I will give you one more example that is personally very important to me. I worked at a school in San Mateo. I oversaw the before and after school program. It was daycare. Sadly, this is a profession that has low prestige in our society. Daycare will never be a high-paying or glamorous line of work, but it is important. We never know what word of encouragement or support will stay with a child for the rest of their life, but positive interaction between child and the adult caregiver works both ways, helps the adult as much as the child. My last year working for the school district was one of the biggest challenges of my life. I had recently experienced a near-fatal case of meningitis that had left me in a weakened condition. I was getting stronger, but it was a slow process. I told my supervisor that I was going to retire at the end of that academic year. She expressed regret at my news, but not surprise. She had heard concerns from a couple of my coworkers. Steve breathes very heavily, and he falls behind during the walking field trips. I felt hurt and angry that people were talking behind my back. I admitted to my supervisor that I may have come back too soon, but my strength was improving and I had my doctor's clearance to work. But the conversation did leave a bad taste in my mouth. I contemplated retiring immediately, but wanted to work this final year. My last year at the school district was the first year of a new program, transitional kindergarten. Anybody heard of that? Yeah. It was designed for children too young for kindergarten, but too old for preschool. Wide-eyed little TKs became part of the student population. They wore backpacks too large for their small frames, a lunchbox in one hand, and their other hand was gripped by a very nervous parent. I met Lucy at 7 a.m. on a Monday. Her mother had signed her up for the daycare program. She was one of several TKs I and my assistant would have in class with us. The time would be spent with play, drawing, games, and group reading. Lowering my body so I was at eye level with Lucy, I introduced myself and welcomed her to the classroom. A quick tour of the class consisted of me showing them the toys, games, dollhouse, art area, and books. After the tour, Mom said, "We have a ritual." Lucy turned and ran to Mom. She jumped, and Mom scooped her up, raising her till the two were face to face. There were 3 quick kisses and a hug. Mom gently lowered Lucy to the floor. The child I had met only a few minutes earlier turned and ran to me. "Let's play," she announced. Lucy's favorite toy was the plastic doctor's kit. It contained a toy stethoscope, pill bottle without pills, hypodermic syringe without needle, a plastic Band-Aid stiff and shaped like a half bracelet, a toy thermometer, and a pair of scissors. I don't know why. A pair of scissors that was so childproof it couldn't cut anything. There was an unalterable pattern to playing this game with Lucy. She would tolerate no deviation. Checking my heart with the stethoscope, she pressed a red button that produced a coughing sound. "You have a coughing chicken in your heart. Take these pills." She handed me the empty bottle and I mimicked swallowing pills. "Now you need a shot." And the hypodermic was pressed against my arm, again without needle. Then the bracelet Band-Aid was placed on my arm. The thermometer was placed against my forehead. "You have a fever, but we'll be all right. Now you get a free haircut." The scissors hovered over my head, and she clipped the air. Then I had to follow the exact same procedure with her. "You have a cough," I said. No, it's a coughing chicken." "Sorry, you have a coughing chicken." Lucy also loved to draw. There were daily rainbows that she would proudly present to me. Rainbows blossomed around the room. She would use the alphabet stencil to color letters. Reading in small groups, she would sometimes blurt out a word before I could say it. By Christmas, she was reading her favorite books on her own. She was also able to go all the way across the monkey bars without any help. Look, Mr. Latner." Fantastic. But it is exhausting to get and receive so much attention from a child, as I'm sure some parents understand and caregivers. My attempts to get her to play with other children at first failed. Thank goodness for Danny. He was another TK, a neighbor of Lucy's, and they had gone to the same preschool together. Danny was round-faced and gentle, his eyes taking the whole world with wonder. Lucy decided it was okay to play the doctor game with Danny. Every once in a while I would hear, No, Danny, you have to put on the Band-Aid now." Both could read by the end of the school year, but Danny was not interested in the monkey bars. I made it through that last year in the school. I would miss all the students, but it is Lucy that I think about most fondly nearly 10 years after my retirement. Perhaps if I see her again, I'll be able to explain how she saved me with the power of play.